our consultants decide what they charge. So we don't really have a say in that, it's entirely up to the consultant. If I'm honest with you, probably over 90% would say they charge within insurance guidelines. But even if they do, it doesn't stop the patients getting shortfalls, which is what I'm going to try and illustrate today. So CCSD stands for the Clinical Coding and Schedule Development Group, which was formed by 5 major PMIs who are currently board representatives for that group, and that's Bupa, AXA, Aviva, Simply Health and Pru Health. And there are now over 2,070 codes that exist. But it doesn't stop there, because they do monthly updates to the schedule. Technology continues to improve, new techniques come out, new codes are changed, narratives are changed, and that takes place on a monthly basis. So that effectively forms the bedrock of our industry, and certainly of our business. Now, over and above that, the CCSD schedule contains rules regarding which codes can be billed together and can't be billed together, and which is commonly referred to as bundling and unbundling within the sector. Each PMI can choose to adopt the CCSD schedule in whole or in part, so it's not mandatory. Okay? PMIs don't always recognise specific codes. So even if it passes CCSD and it's published, then a PMI can say, I still don't want to recognise that. Right? So when a consultant is setting his fees and he does that particular operation, if the PMI doesn't recognise the code, then obviously there's a problem. On top of that, okay, each PMI has their own schedule of fees. So the CCSD schedule is one thing, now we're talking about the fees. So each PMI has their own schedule of fees for the CCSD codes. Some have 2 schedules, which are at different rates. The interesting thing is that the prices can differ by up to 100% for the same code. Right. So you could be with one insurance company that will say pay £1,000 for that code, and you could be with another insurance company and they will pay £500 for that code. Let's say a consultant charges £220 for an initial consultation. So the insurance company will go to them and say, okay, Mr. Chapman, we think you're charging too much, we'd like you to charge £180. So if I charge £180, they will pay £180. If I say, well, I think my fees are fair, so I don't want to reduce them, they'll go, okay, we'll cap you. I'll say, okay, what does that mean? Well, instead of paying £180, they'll pay £150. Yes, that's right, they'll pay £150. And on top of that, they'll also put me on a different fee schedule, so they'll reduce the amount they contribute towards my fees. So that means what they're doing is they're increasing the cost of the shortfalls to the patient by capping the consultant. So they're not really penalising the consultant, they're penalising the patient.